Hi everybody, it's Ep3 here with Ket's Play. Here is video 3 of our Rust tutorials, beginner survival guide if you will. We've just covered servers in the first video, links going up in the corner, and also if you skip back one video to episode 2, then we have the basics of gathering and introductory tools as well to get you started. So in this video we are going to create ourselves a base. Now the base is really important because obviously it gives you a headquarters to launch your operations from, and also a sleeping bag which will then give you a place to spawn. Now a sleeping bag is very simply crafted by pressing tab, crafting. If we go into items, it'll be here, sleeping bag. Now a sleeping bag used to need wood, but now you only need 30 cloth, so that's 3 hemp plants. So I'm going to craft that right now. There we go. As I'm crafting that, I'm also going to try and gather a little bit more wood. Now, as you can see in our inventory, we've got 2,200 wood, we've got 1,500 stone, which is loads. But I'm not entirely happy with that. I would like to get a little bit more wood. I'm just going to go here, follow the red X, don't mind the helicopter, and there we go. Now if we go to G, we will find our map. So we can see here that we are there next to this beautiful river that's given us all this food. There's an abandoned supermarket here. We've also got a few other monuments over this way. Now I think a base somewhere over here is going to be quite effective. Seeing as we're on a low population server, in fact there's nobody else on here, there's no other bases. If you're on a high population server, this would probably be quite a busy area, so you might want to go right the way down to the bottom here just to keep yourself tucked out of the way. But for our purposes, I'm just going to plonk ourselves somewhere around here once we find a nice spot, and we're then going to put ourselves in striking distance for quite a few good places. So, in order to build, we are going to need to create, if I press tab, a hammer and a building plan. So I'm going to create both of those. The hammer is used not in the initial construction, that is used to upgrade. So the building plan is what you're going to need to get your foundations set. You need to have those in your active toolbar as well. So I've got hammer and building plan should be ready in just a second. Now this is looking like a pretty nice spot. It's maybe quite vulnerable because we're out in the open. So I tend to put myself somewhere a little bit out of harm's way. Somewhere that's maybe a little bit concealed by rock. So if I were to start a base somewhere like here, it would actually be quite nice because we've got these 2 rocks, we've got a nice gap in between to be able to lay our foundations. Now we've got our building plan, and if we select it, you'll see that the foundations pop up straight away. You don't have to have square foundations. If you hold the right mouse button, it brings up the wheel. You have triangle foundations, then you have your steps and your floors and your walls and your doors, etc, etc, etc. Now, it's good practice before you start building to actually create yourself a wooden door so you can seal yourself in, and you have that constructing whilst you're building because that way you can seal yourself in as quickly as possible and then get yourself nice and safe. So you want a wooden door here, and we want a key lock. We will also want to construct ourselves a tool cupboard. So if you're going to crafting here, I'm doing this for a purpose. So if we're going to build, you see the wooden door, that's 300 wood. Key lock is 100 wood. And a tool cupboard is 1,000 wood. So for a basic base with 1 door and a tool cupboard, you're going to need 1,400 wood at least. And that's not including all of the walls that you need to build as well. So we've got left here, after constructing our tool cupboard and our doors and our key locks, etc., 2,167 wood, which should be enough still to be able to create our foundations. So I'm going to plonk our foundations a little bit higher up here, and I'm going to do very classic design. I'm going to go for the most basic style as this little triangle base. This is important because we can have a little doorway, probably this side. I'll have the doorway this side, and then I'm going to put another doorway here. It's worth checking because if you look on this panel, you'll see that it's a sort of, it's got these sort of, there would be a cross there if the doorway wasn't in there. So if we go back to the building plan and select a wall, you'll see what I mean. So we've got the X, that means it's the inside. That's really important, so make sure the X is on the inside. If it's not, press R, and then it will flip it. So we're done there. And we're going to select our floor triangle by right clicking onto the wheel and floor for the top there. And then I'm going to select 6 to get my door, and I'm going to place my door so that I can see the cross beam on the inside. It doesn't really matter too much because we're going to upgrade it with a sheet metal door as soon as we can anyway. But this I'm going to place like that. So there it is, it opens, perfect. Now this is a twig base. There are various constructions you can have. Twig is the weakest, and in fact I can whack this probably twice with a hatchet and it's going to go down. So the first thing we need to do is get our hammer, and you'll see that each panel gets lit up with blue. When it's lit up with blue, you right click and it will ask if you want to upgrade to wood or upgrade to stones. So because I've got plenty of stone, I'm actually going to upgrade my floor to stone first. The reason for that is this. Oh, if I can get out. There we go. If I do this with stone, the stone fills up all the way to the ground. If I use wood, it will still be on stilts. So somebody could potentially get under there and then shoot the underside. So we don't want that. So I'm going to upgrade that to wood as a priority. Now the next thing I'm going to do is my frame there, and my walls to wood, to stone, sorry. There we go. And then I can see how much I've got. Oh, that needs to be rotated. So you could see there that this pattern was on the inside. This pattern should be on the outside. The flatter texture, that needs to be on the inside. If it's not, somebody could potentially pick their way through. Next one, I can do the roof and I can do this as well, so that's really good. And I'm actually going to upgrade the middle one to wood because it's not as important. So we've got our base. This is our starting base straight away here. We've had a really lucky start actually because we spawned in a place where there are plenty of resources. That's why we've got lots of wood and there were stone nodes and things as well. So this is quite discreet. It's only a sort of 1x1 with a main loot room in the middle there. There we go. So we've got a 1x1 here as our main body, and then we've got what's called an airlock here. As you begin, an airlock is less important. As you start stacking up loot, you're going to want one of these. The reason for that is there'll be a second door on here, both of them with locks, and that means that I can open this one, get through, close it behind me, and if I'm expecting trouble, I can open this one, and if I get killed, they still can't get into my main base. Next thing to do is I'm not going to put my sleep bag down actually yet because it's not totally secure. I'm going to get my key lock. I'll put that into my quick selection, and then I literally select it and left click on the door, and it will automatically go on there. You'll see it's green, so it's unlocked. I'm going to look at it, select it with holding E, and then a wheel will come up. You'll see that I can create a key, but I no longer need to do that. Alright, so please do not waste time creating a key. If you lose it and somebody else gets it, they'll be able to get access to your base. All I want you to do is click lock. You see that goes to red, but I can open it. Now that it's secure, I'm going to place down my sleeping bag. I'm going to just hold E to rename that. There we go. And the next thing I'm going to do is drag... Oh, I haven't got my tool cupboard. I thought I'd selected that. Never mind, we're going to build this one. And then I'm going to place that down in just a second. And tool cupboard. So, select that and I'm going to pop it down. I might actually rotate it so as it goes just like that. Snug in the corner. Bosh. This is one of the most important things in Rust, and everybody will have a tool cupboard in the center of their base. When I press E here, it says authorize, and you'll notice in the bottom right it will then give me building privilege. So, building privilege means that nobody else can build within a certain perimeter of this tool cupboard. Now, if I go out here, we'll see when the building privilege leaves. There. Okay. So, it's at this point here that my building privilege will stop. So somebody could go and build a base here if they wanted to and place a tool cupboard, but they couldn't build it here because my tool cupboard has priority. The tool cupboards are a really helpful idea in Rust because it means you can own your area and other people can't then build sort of scaffolds around the outside to raid you. There are certain ways you can do that, but I won't complicate this video with it. You'll notice also in the bottom right it says building is decaying. That is because I haven't put any resources into the tool cupboard. If I press E, in the right hand side here it says upkeep management. So essentially it will give me a criteria that I need to fulfill in order to keep my base from rotting away in my absence. So I'm going to put my stone in there and my little bit of wood in there. And you'll notice it then tells me this is my cost per 24 hours. So with these materials here, it is now protected for 2 days and 6 hours. We now have a base with a spawning point and a tool cupboard and a lock on the door. So this is where I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, if you're still a little bit confused as to how I got all the materials, do check out the previous video. Link's going up in the corner. Drop a like. Ask any questions that you need to, drop comments. If you have been playing for years and you've got any ideas or comments, drop them down as well so as any new players can check them out. Hopefully we'll get more players playing Rust as well on the back of some of these videos. So thank you so much for watching. Next video I think we're going to start looking at furnaces and metal because I'd like to get a metal door on here. And potentially a code lock just in case you were to play with a few friends as well. So that's the plan for the next episode. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in episode 4.